It's the Doscinco Project.
Money pouring in, clientele growing down.
With your host, Doscinco.
Let's go!
What up, everybody? You are now tuned into the Doscinco Project, where we talk about business, entertainment, motivation, and mindset. I have another very special guest with us in the building today, okay? He is known in the real estate world as the Wolf of Broad Street. He's a business development pro, connector, event host, and owner publisher of a real estate magazine. Listen, brother, he does magazines. You hear me? It's called Real Producers, Philadelphia Real Producers and Bucks County Real Producers. He has been carving his lane in the Philly real estate scene since 2010 and now represents 70 companies as preferred partners. His team is global, but his reach and niche is Philadelphia. Aside from business, he is an avid world traveler and is currently planning not one, not two, but his third trip to Southeast Asia. Everybody, please welcome Josh Buchter. How you doing today, sir?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Listen, man, I gotta say, first and foremost, the way I found out about you a few years ago was you were doing these events around the city, you know, and around the city, everybody was saying your name, you know? And so I said, I got to check this guy out. And then next thing you know, a few years later, you have your own magazine, you know?
Right.
So if you can, let's talk about first and foremost, how you got the name Wolf of Broad Street.
Well, Wolf of Wall Street's one of my top three favorite movies. I was living in Manayunk at the time. I was hanging out at the bar called Pitcher's Pub on Main Street.
Okay.
It was after work. I had a lame Instagram handle at the time, something like JBuck215.
Right.
It's like time to switch this up. This movie's kind of dope. I wanted to come up with something clever around this movie. And then I'm thinking, you know, Philly, 215, Broad Street. Let's run with that. Wolf of Broad Street was available. Grabbed that real quick and
I love it.
Started a business off of an Instagram handle, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because that was before I had the LLC or anything. Like
wow.
That.
Okay, so you ended up creating an LLC for the Wolf of Broad Street?
Yeah, it's Wolf of Broad Street Real Estate Events LLC.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's primarily for your events that you have.
I run
around the
everything
city?
through that LLC.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
So it's like an umbrella for my magazines, events, everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody that I know knows you, you know, because you're the connector. You're around the city, you know, just connecting people. You actually connected me when I was doing my real estate business, which I still do, but you connected me to the title company. And I conducted a lot of transactions through that. So shout out to you, right?
Doing something right.
Because it fed my kids, you know?
Exactly, good.
But how did you dive into real estate?
So after graduating from college in 2009, I was looking for my lane. I didn't know what to do. I was doing landscaping. I was doing timeshare sales in Atlantic City. Just trying to figure it out. I found my lane in credit repair in 2010. You know, it was hard to get a job in finance, even with a degree. The economy was pretty shot. A lot of people having credit problems. There was no shortage of, you know, credit consultations that needed to be taken care of.
Right.
That was my first splash into real estate because I was getting my business from, you know, real estate agents, loan officers, different real estate professionals like that. A lot of people think I'm a real estate guy, but I'm really a marketing and events guy. I just happen to be, you know, in the real estate scene.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Exactly.
Makes a whole lot of sense. Explain, so, you know, business development is a word that a lot of people use, a lot of people throw around. But to someone that really doesn't know about that area of business, explain what business development is.
I mean, if you're working for PGW or PICO, you're not really concerned with, you know, business development. You got your jobs lined up for you. There's enough to keep you busy. There's enough to do overtime. There's enough to, you know, get around. But when you're in any type of sales type of role, or you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, everything we do is business development and marketing. Okay. So it's eat what you kill, really. You know what I mean? So you got to go out there and prospect for the business. You got to close the business, and you got to stay relevant and top of mind and build brand awareness all along the way.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
So would you say that a lot of your events and what you do all kind of connect with your overall mission, which is business development, right?
Business development and connecting people and having a good time doing it, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because I wouldn't do this if I didn't love it, you know.
Right.
And to hear stories about how years ago I made a little connection that helped you and your family, that's a beautiful thing, you know.
Brother, I made $40,000 in 3 months,
Amazing.
man. I was
Amazing.
excited right off of that connection right there.
Lovely, I love it.
So you went from credit repair and then you jumped into events. How you know?
I was juggling 3 jobs before I jumped into events. I was doing
Okay.
credit repair, I was doing title insurance, I was doing property management. Had 3 jobs, 3 bosses, 3 email accounts to manage, and sales meetings and everything like that. But everything I did was networking and building up my database and my network of real estate professionals. And the best way I found to do that was to promote events. You know, it's a good way past the gatekeeper at these real estate offices to go in there on your guerrilla marketing tip with like a stack of flyers and just say, I'm here to invite your whole office out to a free happy hour, and who's going to say no? You know what I mean?
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
business development, don't go into, you know, a prospective new client's place of business with just, you know, pamphlets about what you do in your hand, or, you know, a tray of cookies or something like that. It's not really going to get you far. You got to get creative.
Okay. And so you would say, you know, you felt as though you had to bring value first in order to, you know, in order to, for them to take you serious, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
We started at humble beginnings at the Bridge Philly at 100 Spring Garden Street in the Delilah's Plaza there.
Wow.
It's not even there
I know
anymore.
exactly
Yep.
what you're talking about. Yep.
They had like the little second level overlooking the main level and stuff like that. Just a dive bar. But it was our first place. It was in the summertime. We had 150 people out. We still have, you know, great photos from that event. And some folks have never missed an event from that event in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you started in 2016.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So explain that process, right? So you decide, okay, business development, you got to hunt what you kill, or you got to eat what you kill, obviously.
Yeah.
And if you're not hunting, then you're not killing,
You're dying.
and you're not eating, you die,
Yeah,
right?
pretty much.
So you decided, okay, the best angle for me to go into the, you know, past the gatekeepers would be the events.
Yes. Yes.
So explain your first event and how you started, you know, explain how you started that first event.
And the gatekeeper thing, it's about always having something to talk about too. So somebody asks you what's going on, it's never nothing, same old, nothing new. It's always, I got this event coming up, that event coming up. Even if this event isn't even created yet, you're talking about it. You're bringing it to life.
Right.
You got a vision for it. But free admission, free drink tickets, appetizers, red carpets, media companies, food, you know, just networking. Who's going to say no? Parking when we can, you know, just like trying to limit any objection to come to this event. Why wouldn't you?
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So in order to eliminate all the objections, right, with this event,
Yep.
you said free. How were you able to, number one, get the venue free of charge? Number two, make sure they eat free of charge. And most importantly, I think to a lot of people, especially when they go to events, make sure that liquor is flowing free of charge.
Yeah. Nothing's free of charge in Philadelphia.
Right.
You get no freebies, man, but somebody's got to pay for it. You're right. And we do that through sponsorships. I'm in the business of event sponsorships and selling ads. That's my bread and butter. So you get 150 of the right people in a room having a good time, and you make it so that this is all made possible by our lineup of sponsors who I pass the mic to and let them say 30 seconds, you know, each. Get the sponsors the guest list of all the attendees, have them included in promotions leading up to the event and all the media coverage after the event, and people pay for that, and that's what funds the whole event.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
How were you able to pick the right price point for sponsorship, or for those specific levels of sponsorship for the event?
I found the sweet spot in 2016 was $350.
Oh,
for
wow.
sponsorship. Very low, but it's doable for just about any company, you know.
Nice.
I had sometimes 10 sponsors like that, you know what I mean? But since then, I have sponsorship packages over $5,000 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many events do you do a year?
I do quarterly events for both magazines, so that's 8 right there. And then we'll do a few Wolf of Broad Street events mixed in there too. So the Wolf of Broad Street events are non-exclusive, open to anybody that wants to come out and network. The Real Producers events are a little bit more exclusive and invite only to the top 500 realtors in Philadelphia, and only the preferred partners of the magazine who advertise.
Gotcha.
So I was able to kind of like level up the free Wolf of Broad Street events into Real Producers by, you know, a little bit of luck. Had something to do with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What would make, when creating an event, obviously it has to be exciting. It has to be something where, you know, it's very memorable and it draws people in, so that way they can consistently come.
Yep.
What sets your events apart from the rest?
I like recently I like themes. You know, I feel like themes are cool because we did.
I just saw a beach theme not too long ago, right?
Yeah, we just launched promotion for a Hawaiian luau networking event at end of summer, sunset happy hour type of vibe. We're transforming this beautiful office space in Bucks County, Bristol, PA. It's Advisors Mortgage Group, brand new space, really, really huge. Transforming that into Maui, you know what I mean?
Wow.
And we're gonna bring out, you know, luxury Italian ice, luxury shaved ice, the tropical treats. Shout out tropical treats. And we're gonna, you know, obviously, like, you know, the whole luau vibe with the
That's
grass
awesome,
skirts
man.
and the, you know, all that.
Are you thinking about different themes when you're doing these events?
Yeah, like recently, May 5th, we did a Great Producers Awards Gala at Rivers Casino.
Nice.
On the second floor ballroom. It was a Roaring 20s Great Gatsby theme. So everybody was dressed to the nines, tuxes and everything like that. People like to have a reason to dress up or have fun or just try to like elevate the experience some way, somehow.
That's awesome, man.
We've done acts though, and recently just getting people active, you know what I mean? Cigar lounges, you know.
So you're constantly dibbling and dabbling in different types of experiences for these individuals. So that way it keeps it kind of, you know, it's not always the same old.
Rooftops, Vesper Day Club, Nodo Nightclub, Z-Bar. Like we go into clubs and do networking events.
That's awesome. Shout out to Phil too from Nodo. I deal with him, director of marketing there. Yeah, he's an awesome guy.
Totally.
Awesome. So with all of these events, you're connected to a lot of people in Philadelphia, and also Bucks County as well.
Yes.
Talk about one of the most interesting or notable individuals in the real estate game that's really, you know, moving and shaking that you've come across, you know, because you're connected to a lot of people. I mean, you got KW Philly, KW Philadelphia. I mean, you have all different types of brokerages. Who was someone that really, you know, struck a chord to you that really inspired you to want to probably level your game up?
So many people come to mind, but the one that really sticks out, her name's Maria Quatro.
Okay.
She's with Remax at Home, 20th and South Street. During the pandemic, she started a campaign of almost daily videos. It was hashtag Be the Solution, you know? So in order to be a real producer in Philadelphia, you have to have some grit. You have to stay consistent. You have to be creative like Maria is, and you have to be inspiring. The motto of real producers is connecting, elevating, inspiring, and she just embodies all three of those things. She's actively growing her team out. A lot of young agents, she's sponsoring their real estate classes and training them.
Wow.
And it goes beyond knowing how to sell real estate, list real estate. It's a lot to do with what we're talking about as far as marketing and business development goes, and being comfortable in the camera, and putting out content. Because at the end of the day, we're all marketers, we're all content creators, no matter who cuts our checks, you know. If you're in sales and business development and entrepreneurship, you got to have all that going on for you.
Yeah.
You know? And she's has a background in selling, you know, radio commercials and I believe billboards too. She has a great marketing background, and she was able to translate that into real estate. She now owns a mortgage company out of her office, blowing her team up. And she's a great speaker. We look forward to doing some collaborations with Maria Quatro soon.
Nice.
Having her as a presenter.
Philadelphia has experienced a lot of changes within recent years with regards to real estate, right? You can go in specific neighborhoods back in the day and probably purchase 4 homes for $10,000.
Exactly.
You can't touch one. You can't even touch a brick for $10,000 nowadays, right?
Exactly.
You know, based off of your connections because, you know, people talk, what do you see the future, you know, of Philadelphia being? Do you see it being another New York where you can't afford anything and it becomes more renters? Like, you know, what do you see the state of Philadelphia real estate being?
I mean, I travel to a lot of different cities across the country and, you know, different parts of the world. Philadelphia already feels like a very expensive place, you know?
Yep.
And the development is booming. We're getting like a ton of overflow from the outrageous prices of New York City, you know, which is cool. Like I'm all for it. I don't know if I like the new construction going on 5:30 in the morning outside my door right now. And
That's how early they start.
And for the next few years, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So you'll notice a lot going on Delaware Ave by Dave and Buster's and Morgan's Piers. You know,
Okay.
none of that's going to be there soon. They're digging up that big parking lot across from Dave and Buster's on Delaware Ave. I live right in that neighborhood there.
Okay.
And it's crazy. It's going to be 10 stories higher than the one water building.
Wow.
There. So imagine that. And they're going to have a lot of commercial space on the bottom.
Yep.
You know, so.
You know what's crazy is that my father has a lot of family in South Philadelphia, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was born and raised in North Philly. So we used to always go across, the 95 and always go past the waterfront. And I remember it was always desolate. The houses right near the waterfront wasn't being taken care of any, period. And now you drive past there and you see all of this development. They're even creating like brand new neighborhoods as you get closer to like Fishtown, Port Richmond area,
Old
brand new
Kensington,
neighborhoods. It's called Old Kensington.
Yeah. I got an office in Old Kensington, yeah.
Wow. So that's where your office is stationed, Old Kensington?
Yeah, it's part of the Billy Penn Studios and the Penn's Treaty Co-working. Yeah, Fifth and Oxford. Yep.
Do you know my friend in Extraordinary Events?
Yes. Yep.
Great. They're great people as well. Ken,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. We actually hosted an event at Billy Penn Studios, and we like commissioned some of his pieces to be part of the event. Specifically to the banquet setup.
That's
stuff.
awesome.
And he had some trippy trees in each corner of this venue, and the lighting was perfect. So yeah,
man, he's definitely a great guy to know, man. He's worked with everyone from the chef that used to feed Frank Sinatra to Mar-a-Lago and all these other places, man. It's nuts.
Yeah, I know. Super talented.
Yeah, definitely a good guy. So so let's talk about your real estate magazine, right? Cool. So obviously you went from credit repair, you juggled a few jobs, ended up jumping into, doing these events where you're connecting with so many people in order to build business and so forth. And now we arrive to you being the publisher of Real Producers, you hear me? Real Producers Magazine. Explain that process and how you decided to become a publisher.
It was luck. It was, just fate. I wasn't looking for the opportunity to be a magazine publisher ever in my life. I never thought about this.
Wow.
Yeah. I mentioned how we had sponsors for the Wolf of Broad Street events. One of my main sponsors the last year that I was really doing the events before the magazine, which was 2018, was the Home Team Mortgage out of Brooklyn, New York. They had expanded to Philly. They were on fire in Philly, new office in Fishtown. They're headlining sponsors of my events, and then they're expanding to Orlando, Florida. And I got the opportunity to go with the Home Team to Orlando, Florida, up in this mansion for a couple days, and promote a happy hour at the Blue Martini in Orlando, Florida, with a stack of flyers and on my social media tip, and got around to every office. We had made a route. There's apps out there where you could literally make a route of 20 stops and they'll optimize it for you, and you just hit every single.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's called.
So it helps you be efficient.
Yeah, I forget what it's called. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Okay.
It's a good Road Warrior.
Road Warrior?
Road Warrior app, and it was free when I downloaded it. Guerrilla marketing, hit every real estate office, drum up. They don't know me from a can of paint in Orlando, Florida, but we got over 100 real estate agents out to the Blue Martini that night.
Yep.
And one of the attendees was the publisher of Orlando Real Producers Magazine. Shout out Aaron Luden. He found out what I was up to in Philly with my Wolf of Broad Street events, and he said, "Why don't you start a Philadelphia Real Producers Magazine?" That was just the right place, right time type of situation.
All you had to do was show up.
I just showed up. Yeah, exactly.
And he heard about you as far as your reputation.
Yep. Wow. And then we started, talking, and I started following what he was doing in Orlando. I eventually was like, I got to do this. You know what I mean? And
so then you expanded from Philadelphia Real Producers and you jumped right into Bucks County Real Producers?
No.
Okay.
So I went to print with Philly Real Producers May of 2019.
Yep.
So we just came on our third year anniversary. January of this year, 2022, I acquired Bucks County Real Producers. It had already been in print for 2 years with the previous publisher, and he called me about taking it over, and I was up for it.
That's dope.
Gotta keep these opportunities open and kind of be a yes man. You know what I mean? I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it and figure it out.
Absolutely.
I don't have no kids, but I feel like I got 2 babies now. It's a monthly magazine, a lot of deadlines and events and things like that. But
it goes to show you too, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times we as humans, we get nervous, right? We get uncomfortable when certain opportunities are presented You've never been a publisher before. You've never ran a magazine. One thing that you do know how to do is bring sponsors in, and you have the connections, you have the Rolodex, so to speak, right? So it's kind of like, okay, I'm just going to educate myself on the fly, and we're just going to make it happen.
Yeah, and I thought I had it in the bag. I honestly was getting a little ahead of myself, thinking this is going to be a cakewalk. I already got sponsors. I already got the Philly real estate scene in Philly on lock. But you're still selling ads into an imaginary magazine. It's not in print yet.
Right.
I signed 30 companies before we even went to print who had faith in me that we would go to print and that it would be what I said it would be.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How do people feel about the fact that, obviously you're producing a magazine while everything else is going digital, and while a lot of these newspapers and these magazines, these paper that were dominating the industry at one time are all going digital?
Exactly.
How do you keep that relevant?
It's a great point because I agree print is dead. You know what I mean? I run a print magazine, but it makes sense for me because my distribution list is 500 people. It's the top 500 realtors in Philadelphia County.
Gotcha.
There's 18,000 licensed real estate salespeople in Philadelphia, but only the top 500 get the magazines, top 3%.
Yep.
So it's almost like you got to earn the magazine. It has shelf life. You see that magazine every month on every coffee table of every brokerage in the city.
Nice.
And people look forward to reading the stories because it's so hyper local and it's their peers that they're reading about.
Okay.
And our writers and photographers and ad design team just puts together this really quality magazine every single month. And it's just super relevant to the readership, which makes it work with print.
So you've created you've made it scarce.
Yeah.
You've made it limited, which increases its value.
But everybody and their mom gets the digital copy though.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So I got over 10,000 people, in my database right now and growing. And everybody gets the email every month with the digital copy. It's on issue.com. You can read every issue on that website.
Man, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So how do you keep track of your time? You're doing events, you're doing the magazines, you're running around like a chicken without a head, How do you keep all of that together?
I'm a slave to my calendar. I put things on my calendar weeks, months, maybe a year out sometimes, and just start building around that. I try to, get ahead of these events a little bit so we know what's coming down the line. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. So every day it's just, running 1,000 things through your mind, making sure you're not missing anything, putting it down on paper, checking it off that paper, delegating things to people, and just, holding yourself accountable throughout, your moves. But I'm pretty regimented with my time. Mondays are, recurring meetings all day. So I meet with, all the real producers, publishers across the country. We're in 100 markets, by the way. It's a franchise.
Wow.
Yep. I meet with my coach on Mondays. I meet with my team on Mondays, individual team members, and then our group team meeting at 5:30. So I know what my Mondays are like. Wednesdays I'm in Philly. Thursdays I'm in Bucks County. Fridays I'm doing dope stuff like this.
That's awesome, man.
And then it's sales meetings. It's photo shoots. I was at a photo shoot this morning. It's a lot of moving parts.
How many staff members do you have now?
I have 16.
You have 16 staff members.
Yep.
And that's across the board between events, between magazines, between everything else that you're doing?
Yeah, between the photographers and the writers. I have a social media manager in New Orleans. I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines. I have a marketing director in Rome, Italy right now. Shout out Sarah Hawansky with White Label Philly. A lot going on.
Brother,
Awesome.
Man, wow. Okay, so did you gradually grow your organization employee after employee, or did you inherit?
No.
Okay.
All gradual. Yeah.
All gradual?
So if you look at the Meet the Team page in the magazine every month, it continues to grow a little bit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Andrea Duran is just joining the team now. She runs a company called Celebrating the Bounce Back.
Yep.
It's the 360 photo booths.
Yep.
And she's got a super positive vibe. She's an influencer, great background. She's coming on to help with client relations and sales.
Nice.
She just started this week, doing a great job.
Do you have them as dedicated full-time employees, or do you kind of put them like on a 1099 where they're independent contractors.
Everybody's an independent contractor.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That makes sense. It makes so they're able to run their business while helping your business.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes a whole lot of sense.
And as long as it gets done, I don't care when it gets done.
That's a good model.
Yeah, it works. It works because this is just like bread and butter for them on top of like what else they already got going on. And I like to make it so that it's enjoyable and, you know, you feel accomplished doing these things.
It also kind of benefits your staff members too.
Yeah.
Because think about it, right? You have your world of connections technically will benefit them because they're helping you and they're also in your presence amongst the other connectors as well, or the other individuals that you're connected to. So it kind of works hand in hand.
Yeah,
you know,
and they all get it. You know, it's like activity creates activity. You know, we stay busy. We attract things, you know, we manifest things. We talk about big picture things and things like we probably have no idea how it's going to happen or if it'll ever happen, but then we blink and it happened, you know what I mean? That type of stuff, yeah. Aside
from the magazine, right? And you could decline to answer this or not, but I know with me, right, when I jumped into real estate, it was all in my head. It was all ideas. It was all, nothing tangible yet, right? But then when I eventually followed the process and I got this one real estate deal and I made I received my first check in 30 days of like $8,500. And I'm like, wow, like $8,500 was a lot when you do that first deal, right? And then next thing you know, after that was a $13,000 check. And then it becomes, now you're looking at the $8,500 and you're like, okay, this is small money. Let me get to what was the big moment for you where you received a check or where you received something where it was like, wow, this is really happening?
I get plaques every time I hit a milestone. So if it's, being with the magazine, if it's 5K, you get a plaque. If it's 10K, you get a plaque. I'm not going to let you know what plaque I got yet, but, recently got a plaque. And it's just a very rewarding feeling to, recognize that because you're hustling so hard and you're so used to paying everybody else before you get paid and getting used to like barely having anything left over. That's a struggle that a lot of business owners deal with, especially as they're scaling their business. But the feeling you got with $8,500 like free and clear on top of like, everything already covered and everything like that, it's a beautiful feeling, and we're always chasing that next milestone.
Absolutely.
Level.
After you do that, you're never content. You're like, okay, let me see if I can go for more.
But I don't even think about the money. Honestly,
right.
You know what I mean? I just keep building it right and doing it right.
You know what helps me and what motivates me, man, honestly, especially when I was doing real estate, taking my kids to Disney World and knowing that a portion of that check paid for that, like 100%, and they're enjoying themselves. I'm like, okay, let's go for the next moment, the next memory that these kids will absolutely enjoy,
Yes.
So that's something that drives me.
Yeah. I mean, that's my vice is travel, you know what I mean? So to kick back somewhere like Thailand or something and have your team spinning, everything's going great, you know what I mean? And the checks are coming in, your clients are happy, events are all cool. It's just like, that's the ideal feeling, the freedom and those memories and that, escape is what it's about.
What's your 3 to 5 year plan?
I'm gonna run this thing way up so that it's a household name in Philly and Bucks, and I'm gonna continue to fine tune it and make it better, add new and interesting content, more lifestyle pieces, more community involvement, huge social media presence and groups, and just I don't see putting this down in the next 10 years, you know what I mean? Yeah, and then,
who knows? You'll gradually start putting out documentaries or something, and you'll end up turning into a whole media company,
or being like a travel vlogger.
Yeah, there you go. The next Anthony Bourdain or something. Let's talk. I'm glad you brought up traveling, right? So this is your third trip, or you're planning your third trip to Southeast Asia. How many countries have you gone to so far?
In Southeast Asia, just Thailand. I keep going back to Thailand. We make stops in.
What is it about Thailand?
Japan and North Korea to get there. But like, it's super cheap in Thailand. You know what I mean? Wow. It's super diverse. You can have the capital, Bangkok, the most crazy, high-tech, busy, metropolitan area that you could possibly like imagine. Bangkok, it's amazing. and then you could, be scuba diving. You can be in the rainforest. You can be up in Chiang Mai, running with elephants.
Wow.
And so much history, and it's just a really just mellow vibe. And also, you're about as far away as possible from Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's on the other side of the world.
Too, yeah.
Absolutely, especially with all the craziness that's going on nowadays, man.
I know.
So, so the cheap part. So I've heard of this. I've actually seen videos on TikTok where they're talking about, Thailand. You could pretty much probably live for like $200 within that week, and that covers everything, right?
Yeah.
Would you say probably the most expensive thing is probably getting there,
Totally.
the air travel?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yep. And finding a way to get away for a while, because you don't want to go there for a week and turn around. It's
Yeah. It's not worth it, because think about
travel
it.
time to get there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean,
it's how many hours does it take to get there?
24. You're in the air for 24 hours.
Okay.
And then you'll have layovers. So I did like a 16-hour flight and an 8-hour flight.
Gotcha.
So I went from Dallas to Japan, and then Japan to Bangkok, Tokyo. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're probably going to need about 2 or 3 days for travel, rest, and then probably another 10 days to experience.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I went 17 the first time, 23 the second time. I want to go for 30 this time.
Nice. When do you plan on going out there?
In December.
Oh, December.
Yeah,
Nice.
Hopefully Black Friday we're out.
Okay. Would you say that that's probably the best time to travel in December?
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of people are kind of clocked out, but with all the holiday stuff going on, and it's like a little bit of a slower vibe. And also, it gives me something to look forward to, throughout the year, and hustle towards, and plant all the seeds now and work hard now, so that we can kind of sit back.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Listen, man, I really appreciate this interview today,
Thank
man.
you.
I think you are awesome. Again, I wanted you on this interview I wanted you on the podcast episode because, number one, is you're very known, especially in the real estate world as it pertains to events. And then, obviously, with your magazine, and I got to put it up again, Real Producers, only the real producers acquire this magazine. But aside from that, you've always been a good person, and you've actually helped me. You didn't even know you helped me, but you helped me out. You helped me feed my family, which is awesome. So I thank you so much for coming here today.
My pleasure.
How can people connect with you?
Instagram at Wolf of Broad Street _ in between each word, at Philadelphia Real Producers, and at Bucks County Real Producers.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep.
Well, listen, man, thank you so much, man. Philly is always representing, y'all. I'm gonna tell you this right now.
We just get warmed up.
Now, he's going to Thailand, but we're gonna close this out with, we got planes to catch. We ain't got time for the nonsense.
Love it.